On the news at 7, Ondo State government begins dredging waterways to check flooding, tasks residents on proper waste disposal. Ipman denies alleged petrol price hike. And from the foreign scene, US President Biden vows to fight Supreme Court ruling on student debt relief. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Akinwumi Abodunde. Ondo State government has commenced dredging of drainages and waterways to check flooding during the rains. The Commissioner for Environment, Sunday Akinwalire, during an inspection of the ongoing desilting of drainages in the Ayedun and Yala axis of Akure, said the present administration has introduced several proactive measures and actions to combat flooding. Our reporter, Joy Pius, was there for Osrc and now completes the story.
For years, Ondo State had always been ranked among flood-prone states. The state government, to prevent another devastation, swung into action by purchasing and deploying 3 excavators to the 3 senatorial districts across the state to clear waterways in major towns, and to also mitigate flooding in prone areas, particularly in the Ayedun and Yala axis of Akure. An amphibious excavator was deployed to the area to dredge the waterways of debris. The Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Sunday Akinwalire, while inspecting the dredging of the Ala River, said the work would minimize flooding in the area. The Commissioner also educated residents of the area on the dangers of indiscriminate dumping of refuse into waterways.
Mr. Governor, being a welfareist person, is passionate about the general welfare and well-being of his people, not just in Akure alone, across the 18 local government areas of Ondo State. And he has placed structures backed up with finances to make sure that we ward off any occurrence of flooding. The situation concerning the whole Ala River, as far as Ayedun, Asis and others are concerned, is that this place has been listed for World Bank intervention. And Mr. Governor has already paid the counterpart fund of 500 million to make sure that the whole place is, we do a concrete channelization.
Chairman Akure South Local Government, Mr. Gbenga Olaniyi, expressed confidence that the quality of job done will reduce the incidences of flood in the area.
The amphibious excavator is brought here so that this can promptly alleviate the problems of flooding that we are experiencing here. So my expectations to the people here is to appreciate Mr. Governor for at least making funds available and also for providing this type of equipment that can easily solve the problems of flooding here.
Residents of the area called on the government to ensure effective monitoring of the project.
We are very happy in this community. We appreciate it, but we are begging them to clear all this area from this place down to the other street at Ayedun. They clear it for us. So if they clear it for us, we have no any problem. If they are coming here once in a year, we have no any problem with this river.
At the presentation of the 2023 Climate-Related Disaster Preparedness and Mitigating Strategies, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, alerted that about 626 local government areas across the country will experience flooding this year, just as the government has assured that Ondo State will not be taken over by flood this year, as predicted by the agency. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
The Chief of Army Staff, General Taurid Lagbaja, has approved the appointment and redeployment of senior officers across the Nigerian Army formations and units in the country. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, said the new development is in continuation of efforts to rejig the Nigerian Army towards ensuring administrative and operational efficiency. Onyema in the statement noted that the recent retirement of some senior officers as a result of the appointment of the new Army leadership contributed to the latest development. The statement said those affected in the recent redeployment include some principal staff officers of defense and army formations, corps commanders, commandants of training institutions, brigade commanders, and commanding officers, among several others. Similarly, the Police Service Commission has approved the appointment and deployment of 8 commissioners of police to state commands in the country. The PSC also commended the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, for adhering to its latest policy on gender sensitivity in his recommendations. According to a statement by the PSC Head of Press and Public Relations, Ikechukwu Ani, the newly appointed State Commissioners of Police are Godwin Agaulo, now Commissioner of Police, Borno State Command; Adelusi Oluwarotimi, CP Kwara State Command; Adebola Ayinde Hamzat, CP Oyo State Command; Augustina Ogbodo, CP Ebonyi State Command; and Samuel Titus Musa, CP Kebbi State Command. Others are Aderemi Adeoye, CP Anambra State Command; Stephen Olanrewaju, CP Imo State Command; and Alamatu Abiodun Mustafa, CP Ogun State Command. Meanwhile, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered a team of policemen attached to the Edo State Police Command to report to the force headquarters for running over a handcuffed middle-aged man with a police vehicle. In a video that circulated online on Friday, the handcuffed man was seen lying down in front of the police van. In the statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the acting IGP said the police will not condone such an act of unprofessionalism and illegality. He appealed to the people of Ekpoma, where the incident happened, to remain calm as the present leadership of the force will take necessary action. Troops of Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hardin Kai have been charged to remain resolute, undaunted, disciplined, and patriotic in combating the nation's adversaries. Chief of Army Staff Major General Taurid Lagbaja gave the charge during Salah luncheon with troops in the front line at the headquarters of Sector 2 Operation Hardin Kai in Damaturu, Yobe State. Lagbaja said the season brought to remembrance the supreme sacrifice which officers and men of the Nigerian Army make on a daily basis to ensure that the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the nation are preserved at all times. He tasked the troops to keep praying for the Nigerian Army as it tries to combat security challenges in all theater operations across the country. A human rights lawyer, Femi Falana, has asked the Department of State Services, DSS, to speed up investigation into the cases involving the suspended chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa, and the embattled governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, who has been suspended. While Emefiele was arrested on June 10 over allegations of terrorism financing, Bawa was quizzed by the Secret Services over allegations of abuse of office. Falana urged the DSS to arraign the duo in court if it has evidence of indictment, arguing that the continued detention of Emefiele and Bawa did not reflect implementation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. The senior advocate of Nigeria urged the government to handle the cases in line with the provisions of the law to avoid a situation whereby loopholes are exploited. The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has announced the setting up of a joint working committee to resolve issues surrounding the recent demolition of property in some markets in the state, especially the Alaba International Market. Sanwo-Olu, who disclosed this after a meeting with Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Ben Kalu, and some Igbo market leaders in Lagos, said some of the misconceptions surrounding the actions of the government had been cleared at the meeting, adding that the committee will go round to verify things and put out information to correct negative media reviews. The Lagos governor appealed to the people to go about their normal businesses without any fear, as the government will always listen to them and provide opportunity for businesses to thrive. Also speaking, Governor Uzodinma thanked Governor Sanwo-Olu for listening to the concerns they raised with him and his proactive action in setting up a committee to immediately look at the issues, adding that no policy will be targeted against them or against their business interests. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has justified the demolition exercise embarked upon by his administration since his assumption of office on May 29. Affirming his administration's commitment to the exercise, Governor Yusuf noted that the demolition exercise has been done to recover public property allegedly acquired illegally by individuals and cronies of the previous administration. The governor said his administration will ensure that all such property are restored for the benefit of the people of Kano. A new executive to steer the affairs of Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria Women's Wing for the next 4 years in Ondo State has been inaugurated. The team, led by wife of General Superintendent, Acts of Apostles International Church, Deaconess Florence Adeboriota, has been sworn in by the Southwest CPFN PFN chairperson, Dr. Susan Oshifade, in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Omoriola Hungbeji reports that some personalities were also honored for their humanitarian service in God's vineyard.
Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria Women Wing is a forum under the umbrella body of the Christian Association of Nigeria to propagate the gospel. It is the second inauguration and maiden convention with the theme, The Chosen Woman. Presenting the incoming executive, outgoing panel chairperson, Reverend Mrs. Nkuma, said a lot was achieved, including the inauguration of 4 branches in Odigbo, Okesepopa, Akure South, and Akoko Northwest local governments.
Your states, Southwest, national level, in particular, and Bobican in general.
All the new elected officers, that God should help them and give them the grace to be able to work than that of the former, than our own tenure.
In his sermon, PFN State Chairman Reverend Moses Ajayi reminded them of their responsibilities in the vineyard of God, as the theme implies, the chosen woman. Southwest Chairperson Dr. Susan Oshifade, alongside other ministers of God, at the inauguration encouraged the new executives to build on the good legacy of predecessors.
A chosen woman must be able to uphold the truth, at the same time be able to preach the gospel with a lot of endurance. Such a woman must be faithful, trustworthy, diligent, wise, industrious, compassionate, and generous.
Grand Patron of State Womican, CPFN, Prophet Zacchaeus Adeboriota warned them against any form of discrimination.
And they should believe that nobody has church. They should join together and work for the goal, unity of Godhead.
Deaconess Florence Adeboriota will lead the 21-member executive for the next 4 years, and she promised to be a good ambassador.
We unite all the women to cooperate, organize seminars, workshops, health talks, so that these women will continue to develop both spiritually and
physically.
The event also witnessed presentation of certificates to outgoing executives, induction of patron and matron of the association, and presentation of awards to deserving personalities.
To get them all the needed material to serve, Father will return all glory unto you. May your name be glorified in the name of Jesus.
Omoriola Ngbeji, OSRC News.
You're watching the news at 7 on OSRC television. We'll take a break at this point. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Words are hard to find, but they're still heavy on my mind tonight. The pain is deep inside, but I still want to hide tonight.
Is this what you really want to do?
Yes, Dad. That's what I've been trying to show you.
Fight for your dreams the advanced way with Glow LTE Advanced. The power of 3 data networks in one. Get a Glow SIM or dial *301#.
Èmi ló kàn.
Agogo ti gbélé àpòmọ̀dé. Èmi mà ní ìrẹ́kọ̀.
Àjọ nílé nínú ọdún táwa yìí.
Èmi ló kàn. Tí mara lè mọ́lẹ̀ nínú ọdún táwa yìí. Èmi ló kàn. Tí màá ṣe lé ńlá nínú ọdún táwa yìí. Èmi ló kàn. Nínú olórí rẹ̀ tó máa gbàgbọ́ ọdún. Èmi ló kàn.
Tó máa di láńlọ́ọ̀dù tá a nílé lórí.
Èmi ló kàn. Tó máa jàǹfààní 30% discount. Èmi ló kàn.
Oh yes, it's your turn to become a landlord this Ilia season. Take advantage of the Adron Homes Super Salah promo and enjoy 30% discount on all estates. Get 2 big ramps and other exciting gift items when you subscribe.
Thank you for staying with us on the news at 7. You can also watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. The Administrative Secretary of Ondo State Cocoa Revolution and Management Agency, Chief Toba Adenowuro, has officially exited the civil service after 35 years of service. Adenowuro, at the special Thanksgiving service held at St. Stephen's Anglican Church, Akure, appreciated God for all his accomplishments. Zahid Aribisala reports that family and friends joined in the celebration.
Time to draw the curtains on the meritorious 35 years career in the civil service of Ondo State for Chief Toba Adenowuro, rising from an assistant technical officer Agric when he was employed on July the 1st, 1988 to Administrative Secretary, Ondo State Cocoa Revolution and Management Agency, COCOREV. Mr. Adenowuro brings to an end the sojourn by returning praises to God with this retirement Thanksgiving. The special Thanksgiving service held at St. Stephen's Anglican Church attracted family members, professional colleagues, and government officials as the congregation joined him and his wife to celebrate. Venerable Cornelius Osinyemi, in his sermon titled Commendation for the Best Use of the Opportunity You Have, admonished humans to act with consciousness of being accountable to God someday. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Agric and Agribusiness, Akinlotu, Chairman Ondo State Cocoa Council, Dr. Olumide Awolumate, among other persons who have shared corporate and social relationship with Adenowuro, described him as a team player who supports the growth of others.
He has been in cocoa business for so long and has impacted virtually every stakeholder in the cocoa value chain. When there are complex problems, Mr. Adenowuro will, in a very jovial way, resolve those problems and will be able to get results, very quickly.
That you are retired doesn't mean you withdraw to your cocoon. To be out to impact more on the society, particularly those of us from the interior, he should come back and make his presence felt.
He's a moving encyclopedia when it comes to the issue of cocoa. He's passionate about it and he has put in his best to develop cocoa in Ondo State.
Every aspect in the church, you will see him moving. He will not mind if it is children or adults department. He's always everywhere.
I only advise him for now, he should have a good rest. Although, once you have an attitude that is inbuilt, it is very, very difficult for you to, for such actions to elude you. You would love to continue in it. Because once you are doing it and you are not sick, you are doing it, you are not tired. You see, every day it forms part of you. But in all, I want him to take a good rest.
While appreciating the support of those who contributed to his success, Mr. Toba Adenowuro enjoined his colleagues and youths to embrace diligence and honesty.
I started very small, even on temporary appointment, but later it was regularized. And now I'm retiring, full-fledged director, administrative secretary. To God be the glory. So I'm telling the others, you can start small. Encourage yourself to grow big. Let's not be the kind of things people do call evil servants. We should not be evil servants, but civil servants.
His contributions over the years also attracted gifts from individuals, groups, and organizations with prayers. Despite the challenges, Mr. Adenowuro's career has been laden with achievements, from initiation of Cocoa Revolution program tagged 1 kilo per tree, to serving in various committees at state and federal level, to receiving the award of Best Cocoa Desk Officer in Nigeria from 2011 to 2016, contributing to the body of knowledge in cocoa sector through research and surveys in different parts of the world, among others. Sahir Aribisala, OSRC News.
The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has denied the alleged plan by the association to increase the pump price of petrol to 700 naira per litre nationwide. The chairman of Ipman Southwest Zone, Dele Tajuddin, who made the clarification, urged Nigerians to disregard the speculation and not engage in panic buying. Tajuddin stressed that the product's price will not be more than what it is being sold for presently. He said the slight increase in pump price was because of the transportation cost and that Nigerians should be at rest as the commodity will not be out of reach of the masses. President Bola Tinubu has received the president of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, in Lagos. Embalo, who is also the chairman, ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Governments, paid a private visit to his Nigerian counterpart. Embalo's visit to Tinubu is the first by an African president since his inauguration on May 29. Though details of the visit have not been made public, it may not be unconnected with Nigeria's position as one of the most influential nations in the economic community of West African states and the African Union. Moving to the foreign scene, United States President Joe Biden has vowed to fight after the Supreme Court blocked plans to grant relief to students' debt. The United States Supreme Court rejected plans by President Joe Biden to cancel $430 billion of student loan debt. This was a key campaign promise when he ran for president in 2020.
Achieve those milestones such as like buying a car or starting a family or buying a home. With COVID, people had the opportunity to try to catch up, but since the repayments are going to be starting again soon, it's going to put people back into that hole that they were into, not being able to start their lives or provide for their family or even provide for themselves.
Let's be clear, some of the same elected Republicans, members of Congress who strongly opposed giving relief to students, got hundreds of thousands of dollars themselves in relief, members of Congress, because of the businesses they were able to keep open. Several members of Congress got over $1 million.
I can't say that, and I'm not sure how young adults will vote, but he can expect that he will hear from advocates should he not fulfill his promise.
Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, says he is planning to appeal a court ruling banning him from running for re-election until 2030. Electoral court judges in Brazil found Bolsonaro guilty of abusing his power.
Today I was dealt a stab in the back. I was made ineligible because I was accused of abusing my power. But the real stab in the back was dealt to Brazil's democracy.
Freedom of expression is not freedom of aggression. It is not the legitimization of disinformation. It is not an attack on democracy.
Bolsonaro's popularity will grow, and he will continue to be the standard bearer of the values of the right, like family tradition. We are counting on him to elect almost a third of Brazil's mayors in next year's municipal elections, increasing our presence in national politics.
Now sports. The Super Falcons of Nigeria will tomorrow fly out of the country to Australia to step up their preparations for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. The Nigerian Football Federation announced that the 9-time African champions will depart Nigeria for a 15-day training project in Australia before the tournament proper, with their base at Brisbane. Nigeria's opening match at the World Cup is against Olympic champions Canada at Melbourne's Rectangular Stadium on July 21, before matches against co-hosts Australia and Republic of Ireland on July 27 and July 31 at the Lang Park in Brisbane. This year's World Cup will be hosted by Australia and New Zealand between July 20 and August 20. Australia and New Zealand 2023 will be the biggest ever FIFA Women's World Cup, as it will feature 32 teams. It is also the first to be hosted by two countries, and is the first ever FIFA senior competition to be hosted by two countries in two different confederations. Nigeria's track queen Tobi Amusan has finished in second position in the 100 meters hurdles event at the Lausanne Diamond League. Puerto Rico's Jasmine Camacho Quinn won the race with a time of 12.4 seconds. Amusan clocked a time of 12.47 seconds, equaling her personal best by the best for the season. The third position went to Tia Jones, who ran a time of 12.51 seconds. It was a slight improvement for Amusan, who finished in third position behind Camacho Quinn and Tia at the Continental Tour event in Osrc. The trio will battle again in Stockholm tomorrow, 2nd July. Amusan will be hoping to hit top form before defending her title at the World Athletics Championship later this year in Budapest. And now, to end the news at 7, another look at the major stories. Ondo State government has begun the dredging of waterways in the state. Commissioner for Environment Sunday Akinwalire, during a monitoring exercise, also tasked residents on proper waste disposal to check incidents of flooding. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMEN, has denied alleged plans to increase the pump price of petrol to 700 naira per litre from 500 naira. And from the foreign scene, we told you that the United States President Joe Biden has vowed to fight the ruling of the Supreme Court, which is against plans to grant relief to students' loans debt. That's it on the news at 7. Thank you for being a part of it. Good evening.